Welcome, everyone. We are ready to go, and thank you so much for joining us for this year's Expect Employment Report. My name is Kara Kumari. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Assistant Commissioner for Communications and External Affairs for the Department of Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities. And we are thrilled to have so many people joining us today for something we believe is very, very important, which is increasing opportunities for employment for people with disabilities across the state of Tennessee. Before I introduce our speakers and we present the report, I do want to just make mention of the fact that while we are having to do this event in virtual fashion because of the COVID-19 pandemic, it's the same pandemic that has really impacted the employment opportunities for people with disabilities as well as people all across Tennessee. But I think it's really important that as we gather here today, we talk about the fact that for so many of our state agencies and our private partners and our providers, the focus on employment for people with disabilities has never wavered. In fact, it's become more important, and that work has continued using innovation and different ideas and strategies to make sure that we're continuing to put people with disabilities and their goals and outcomes for employment first. So I just wanted to recognize the hard work of everyone who is on this call today with us and thank them all for continuing that work. So we're going to do this a different way. Normally, we love to be able to show folks the different things that we're doing across the state for people with disabilities. But I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to let some of the folks that are doing that work talk for themselves, and the agencies that have partnered together to make this all happen speak and talk about how important it is before we present this report to the governor. I'm going to start by introducing the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services Commissioner Marie Williams to say a few words. Commissioner Williams, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so very, very much. Dear Governor Lee and dedicated colleagues from the Employment Task Force, as well as my colleagues, Commissioner Barnes, Commissioner Turner. As you know, recovery is only possible where people are able to live, work, learn, and participate fully in their communities, and employment is part of that. We know, Governor Lee, that you are very familiar with the work that we do and that you have supported that work. And I'd like to say to you that our team members that are really part of that are Deputy Commissioner Matt Yancey, who's on this event, as well as Assistant Commissioner Rob Cotterman. And then finally, our director, incredible director, Mark Liverman, who works with each of the other departments to try to get funding and resources to be able to do more across our state. We know that if we did not have the support of Commissioner Barnes financially, where she's helped leverage our state dollars, as well as Commissioner Turner, who's there with you, who has also helped us with practices and procedures for people that are dually diagnosed, that have substance abuse, mental health, and also developmental issues, as well as TennCare, who's a huge funder of what we do, that we could not do what we've done. Governor, you visited one of our employment sites last Thursday, Ames Center. And I know that you and Commissioner Barnes got to speak with people that have actually benefited from this work. And I will tell you that in speaking to the CEO this morning, Donna Maddox, she was ecstatic about the fact that you came and that you truly got to hear a story which is representative of almost 1,500 stories across the state. 1,500 individuals who have mental health issues that are working to get today in our state being able to give back. This represents just one of the sites that we fund every year through your funding, the legislature's funding, grant funding that is able to get people jobs. When you talk to individuals, what they'll say to you is that they feel a sense of dignity, hope, and finally that they feel a part of their local community where they're able to give back. And that creates a sense of joy that really is amazing to see. I would tell you, Governor, that the work that we do is evidence-based. I know that that's something you're very focused on. We've been nationally recognized in the department for the IPS piece that we do, individual placement and support, which is considered an evidence-based practice. Governor, we want to say to you, thank you, as well as to our partners who are here today. thank you for your support and for being part of this Employment First Task Force.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Williams, for your remarks and words. Next, I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Danielle Barnes with the Department of Human Services. Through the Vocational Rehabilitation Program, the Department of Human Services really interacts with almost all of us as state agencies in helping people with disabilities and the people that we support in our individual populations reach their employment goals. And so we're so thankful for that partnership we have with that program. And I'll turn it over to her to say some remarks. Thank you very much, Commissioner Barnes, for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Kara, and thank you, Governor and Commissioner Williams and Commissioner Turner. This is, as you all may know, one of my most favorite events that we get to do year over year. There is nothing more gratifying than to be able to see our work in action. Now, the Employment First Initiative, for those of you that are on the phone, and just to bring you up to speed, I think it's important to note that we are entering into our 7th successful year. That's quite a task to really bring together state agencies with people, families, higher education institutions, community-based providers, and other people who are dedicated to the mission of increasing competitive integrated employment for persons with disabilities. This task force has been charged with identifying, removing barriers to employment for people with disabilities and aligning all of those resources that you heard Commissioner Williams speak about to maximize funding. This collaboration has brought so many successes, which are highlighted in this year's report. I think it's important to note that this year's report not only addresses all of the progress made on the strategic goals, the 5 strategic goals that we've been working on, but it also spotlights the essential workers who have stayed on the job, the role technology has played across Tennessee, and the innovation that has been spurred in response to COVID-19. Let me first start, because I can't brag on our vocational rehabilitation team enough. And Governor, I believe our Assistant Commissioner Mandy Johnson is on the line with us, and she has truly been leading this charge and has not been afraid to take risks. But I think it's important that you know that our vocational rehabilitation program quickly implemented innovative and creative strategies to continue serving our customers. Our VR staff quickly transitioned from office-based, because we're used to being hands-on right in front of our customers. And we changed those very quickly to work from home and remote work. And so today, nearly 100% of our VR staff are working remotely. Following your executive order for mass gatherings, we had to really change our service operations for our Tennessee Rehabilitation Center at Smyrna. Remember, that is one of very few residential centers across the country. And our 17 community Tennessee Rehabilitation Centers, and each one of those centers had to suspend their online training programs. Now, we knew that this suspension was not a long-term solve, as we had to continue to support the individuals that needed us so much. And by this summer, they were offering distance learning alternatives as a way for students to continue those studies from the safety of their own home. The VR program also increased flexibilities regarding service delivery to allow for telephonic, online, web-based, and other alternative methods. Now, I think it's important that we highlight one of these success stories, and we have the director of our pre-employment transition services on the line with us as well. But I think it's important to know that even in a year where in-person attendance was shortened substantially by the COVID-19 pandemic, the number of those individuals involved in what we call our pre-ETS program, it continued to grow. As of the end of May, the number of pre-ETS provided increased over 30% from the previous academic year. And that's so critical because if you'll recall, schools were closed, and yet we were still able to find a way to work with students to help them meet their employment goals. Since publishing the guide in August, more than 51 providers have been able to deliver services through online platforms like we're going through today. And currently, a little over half of all of our pre-ETS contractors are providing services virtually, and will continue to increase this number to ensure that all students with disabilities have access to pre-ETS. Now, Governor, I know how much you love this great state of Tennessee, and there's nothing more beautiful than getting out into the farmlands, if you will. One of the success stories I want to share with you is there's a little community nestled between farmland and rural Union City. It's a unique and standout attraction like no other in West Tennessee, and I'm sure that you've seen this spot. It's on what used to be a cornfield, and it's called the Discovery Park of America. It was built to offer locals and travelers alike a distinctive educational and entertaining experience. It's full of, I remember seeing it and I remember being just entranced by its quirky exhibits, the dinosaur fossils, the replicas, and most importantly, that gorgeous view of the surrounding nature. And since I know you're like me, you found that nice cozy lunch spot that's embracing competitive integrated employment for people with disabilities. It's called the Sabins Cafe. And that has been a wonderful success story of the partnership between DID, the St. John's Community Service, DHS, and Sabins Cafe. Together, we have worked with vocational rehabilitation services to identify each employee's strengths, where their skills could be applied, and what each of their work goals were. And together, we've been able to get those individuals back to work. Now, I want to share one last success story with you today. This is part of our SNAP ENT program. At 23 years old, Cody found herself supporting 2 children with a very low income. He was working as an equipment operator, averaging only 25 hours per week, and many times would be out of work due to the bad weather. Cody wanted a more secure career with a full-time employment and benefits for his family, so he began to pursue a career as a truck driver. Through our program and through SNAP ENT, Cody's tuition and textbook costs were covered, and he received his transportation assistance and monthly case management through Title I. Cody completed his training at the TCATS and earned his commercial driver's license and is now employed with the McElroy Trucking Company based in Cuba, Alabama. He began earning $15 per hour for 40 to 50 hours per week, and he still receives assistance from SNAP ENT and our program. Governor, that's just one of the many, many stories of success. And I'm so proud of all of the work that we've accomplished, but there is still so much work to be done. I say today, let's celebrate. And tomorrow, we get back to work for our citizens. Tomorrow, we continue to advocate for their successes and their independence. With each day, with each hour, we build stronger businesses, stronger communities, and stronger individuals. And each day together, we continue to build a thriving Tennessee. Thank you, Kara. Thank you, Governor. And I am excited to continue the work.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Barnes, for sharing those incredible stories with us. And just as an aside, we have posted in the chat a link to an Employment First playlist of all the different videos that different agencies have put together, and it includes that Discovery Park story as well. So everyone can see the incredible work that has taken place over the past year, and that has not been slowed down during this time. So now we are going to go into the governor's office for the last part of this. This is the expected employment report, and the other copy of this report is actually with my boss, DIDD Commissioner Brad Turner, who is joining the governor and will present the report. Commissioner.
Thank you, Karen. Again, thank you everyone that has participated with us and has allowed us to continue to pursue gainful employment and competitive integrated employment across the state of Tennessee. Governor, it's my pleasure to officially present you the expected employment report from our task force. And I want to thank you for your willingness to invest in our population and recognizing the value for each one of our individuals that we're responsible for. But I think you know this, and we have talked about this, that there's dignity in a paycheck. And what we're allowing individuals to do is actually pursue the types of lives that they've envisioned for themselves. So you've seen what good government looks like, your governor. We have state agencies, we have private stakeholders, but most importantly, we have Tennesseans with disabilities that are recognizing their life's dreams, because we are able to pursue that because it's the right thing to do. So this is not something that we've done with charity. This is something that we've done with character. And I want to thank you and your administration for partnering with us to allow Tennesseans to live the lives they've envisioned for themselves.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. And actually, if you'll step just a little bit right there, I'm going to take this off so
Sure.
I can, so
Yes, sir.
people can see my face and we can be far enough apart. Thank you for this report. Thank you for the opportunity to be on this call. I'm grateful for everyone that is participating in this. So Commissioner Barnes and Commissioner Williams, Commissioner Turner on my team, and all that are on your team. So we're on this team together. But what I know about you three and what I know about the folks that are on your team is that your words of passion are only backed up by a commitment in your heart for that same passion. And I know these folks. I know how much they're committed to the people that they serve and to their customers and their clients and their neighbors and their fellow Tennesseans. And, you know, I just, I want to say that my engagement with these departments serving people with disabilities and the privilege that I've had over the last year and a half to begin to interact in a more meaningful way with that community and with those that serve that community has been an incredible blessing for me. So when I came into this job, my real desire was to use my life to impact the people of Tennessee's lives for good. And that is exactly what is happening here. It's not my life that has done it. I have been able to step into those of you on this call, those of you who are stakeholders, those of you who recognize the valuable work being done here. But I've been allowed to step into that world, to go to the AIM Center, to talk with men and women whose lives are absolutely being changed. They do have dignity. They do have purpose. Their lives do have value, but now they recognize that. We know their lives have value. We know they have purpose, but what we need them to know is that, and for them to recognize it and understand it as well. The work that is being done here, is changing Tennesseans' lives for good. And that is the vision that we all have in this state. And these are particular Tennesseans who are very unique and have very unique giftings and very unique talents. And to watch those be elevated and to watch those be validated, to bring, and by the way, I'm a former employer who recognizes that it's not only those who benefit from the services here or who connect with or who are validated, who understand their own worth, but the employers who are transformed by people with disabilities who come into the workplace and make major contribution, but also contribute to the culture of their environment, to the culture of their company, to do the same thing for those employers that has been done for me, which is allow me to step into something that has given me a deeper, greater appreciation for not only the work that's being done, but the people that are involved in it. So I just want to say heartfelt thank you. Thank you for the years of commitment. Thank you for the continued work that is being reported here. Thank you for all of you that are engaged in this task force, whatever level you're engaged, whatever place you have at the table. We're terribly grateful for that. I'm excited about the future and the work that we have ahead of us because I'm excited about the team. So thanks for this report. Thanks for the work that you do. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to share.
Thank you very much, Governor. And we hope that you enjoy reading about the stories of Tennesseans across the state who have reached their goals. And thank you. And you have our commitment that you will not lose our commitment to people with disabilities. And we will not stop working as hard as we can to continue this important work no matter what a pandemic or anything else will throw at us. So thank you all very much for joining us today. Thank you, Governor Lee, for joining us and for your leadership. And with that, today's event is over. I do want to take note that the report is available on the DIDD webpage on the Employment First Task Force page. And thank everyone for coming and joining us today. We hope that you will continue to see the value in employment for people with disabilities and work towards those goals that we all share. Thank you all. Thanks for joining us.